Hey guys, Orville here. For this particular blog session, we are going for a full-blown 30-minute blog session, I hope. And for this video's discussion, we're going to talk about something that has become something of a international phenomenon in the last year or so on both sides of the Pacific. And you can probably tell from that choice of words, unless, of course, you've already read the topic title. We are going to be talking about the international hit sensation known as Attack on Titan. Cue the music. So yeah, I figure at the very least, this video shouldn't get flagged because that's only a small snippet of what this is going to be entailed. But yeah, so for those of you, unless you've been living under a rock or are just not into the whole anime thing that a lot of the youngins and so forth and so on are into, Attack on Titan is a Japanese anime. Excuse me. Attack on Titan is a Japanese anime that has become something of a worldwide sensation. It's the basic premise of the story is about these giant man-eating creatures called Titans that are trying to wipe out humanity. For a lot of the specifics on how their biology works, I recommend either A, watching the anime, which, yes, as you can see, I have on Blu-ray, or B, reading the manga, which, by the way, I have the entire set of. And on that note, Attack on Titan has been distributed all over the world. First in the United States, but you can now find it in over a dozen different languages. There is a new attraction being built in both Japan and Florida. Universal Studios, I believe, with an Attack on Titan theme to it. There is also a live-action movie that has pretty much grabbed the internet by the horns. A live-action movie being developed in Japan, I should say. There are a couple of movies that are in development in Japan also, and earlier this month, the Attack on Titan Chains of Humanity, or in Europe, Shingeki no Kyojin Chains of Humanity was released on the 3DS as a digital download-only game for $40. And yes, there is also a theme. If you have a 3DS, it's free for a limited time. If you buy the game, like now, you get a nice theme to go with it, which is pretty freaking cool. Of course, Attack on Titan, if you want to get the game with theme, that's only if you're fans of the anime and or manga. So yeah. So I'm gonna try to condense this. I know I said before the opening credits roll that I was gonna make this 30 minutes, but I'm gonna see if I can cover everything that I want to cover in a third of that time. So we're shooting for 10 minutes now. So anyway, like I said, it started first as a manga, and then due to its explosive popularity, the anime was born. Now I want to explain something very important for you guys, so that for those of you that have probably either heard about it in passing, or B, just saw the anime and are now interested in collecting the manga. Where's the storyline? Where's a good place to jump in? And if I've already seen the anime, where should I go? In terms of the manga. Well, you have two options if you want. Well, you have two options available to you. Of course, number one, you can buy them. You can start with Volume 1, and that's why I handled this up 3 times already. Or you can do what I did and start with Volume 9, which picks up where the anime leaves off, and just keep reading from there. Now, I already made a blog post sometime last year. I believe it was over the summer when I bought. Let's see if I've got it. Yep. Nope. So anyway, when I bought Volume 9, and I started reading from there. When I bought Volume 9, that was like, actually I bought Volume 9 after I'd seen the entire anime. But anyway, that's a separate matter entirely. You start with Volume 9, it continues where the anime leaves off. I was looking for my Volume 8, but I don't feel like going over my bookcase to get it. But anyway, Volume 9 is when things get really interesting, because for those of you that have seen the anime, this is the second half of the current season in syndication that we have right now. So you've got the full set. Well, it doesn't really matter which order I hold them in up to the camera because it's mirrored. But anyway, if you've already seen the anime and you don't want to have a retelling of everything that happened in the anime that you've already seen, just buy Volume 9 and go from there. As of this month, Volume 15 is the most recent volume in the series, and without getting into major spoilers, things get really interesting starting with Volume 9, and I know this is like the fourth or fifth times I've held it up. But anyway, I'm not going to spoil too much, but I am going to explain a little bit about how things have changed since Volume 8 / the anime series as we know it. And on that note, it has been announced that Attack on Titan 2, kind of like Sword Art Online 2, is in development right now, because they're going to continue where the first one left off. And if how they handled Sword Art Online 2 is any indication, they're probably going to wait until after volumes 9 through 16 at the very least have been published. So, and then they're going to do then the anime is going to do their own spin on those 8 volumes. At least that's what makes the most sense to me. But anyway, I'm going to jump into spoilers a little bit. So here we go. Here's some basic stuff you need to know. Number one, and this is all, by the way, this is all stuff that I've touched on in my blog. The 2 major things that you need to be made aware of is the identities of the Colossal Titan and the Armored Titan are revealed. It's revealed that there's a major conspiracy involving the Wallists and the Setting royal family and the Attack on Titan universe. And again, I'm not going to get into too much details because that would be epic spoilers. And another thing that I want to bring up is after you've read volumes 9, 10, 11, 12, and 12, read Levi's spin-off story, No Regrets. There are 2 volumes to this, and I have both, because it does explain a bit of what happens in volumes 14 and 15. So I highly recommend reading his spin-off series, because it explains a little bit about his background with some of the major players that are introduced in volumes 13, 14, and 15. Speaking of spin-offs, there are actually 2 other spin-offs, and oh cool, there's the other one. There is Attack on Titan Before the Fall. As of right now, there are 4 volumes. This is volume 1, obviously, and it takes place several years before the events of the canon storyline. It's an interesting read, to be sure, and my viewpoint on it is if you're not all that familiar with the original, with the existing storyline, it's worth checking out at the very least. But basically, in this prequel, the Before the Fall is more of a prequel where the ODMs are not being used so much, and the Survey Corps is in its infancy. Pretty much, they're still trying to figure out how to kill the Titans, more or less. There's also a bit of a conspiracy element in this as well, and I think this is where you start getting into the whole who is really our allies really enemies and our enemies really allies kind of thing starts going. The main character of the Before the Fall, Kuklo, is was actually, his origin is actually pretty bizarre, where his mother, while pregnant with him, gets eaten by a Titan, and a member of the Survey Corps cuts him out of her, and that's this is more of a time skip sort of thing, where a lot of people think that he is part Titan when he really isn't. And so in volumes 2 and 3, Kuklo and a friend that he makes, and with the family that adopts him, decides to leave the walls and kind of like sneaks off with the Survey Corps to meet a Titan and kind of like confirm his own humanity, which is actually pretty powerful. But anyway, yeah, a lot of the vibes that I'm getting from Volume 9, I mean from Before the Fall, is it speaks a lot more to how things were like before ODM, or the omnidirectional movement gear, was widely used in the military, as well as, I'm assuming at some point you get to see the first Titan takedown ever, which I'm really looking forward to, in terms of whether it'll be Kuklo or whether it'll be the charismatic young new commander of the Survey Corps, whose name escapes me at the moment. But anyway, it's sure to be a pretty interesting read at the very least. The other spin-off series that is just pure hilarity is Attack on Titan Junior High, and as of right now there are 3 volumes. It's basically a mix of a lot of different genres, where you have the entire cast of Attack on Titan as middle schoolers. It's all kinds of hilarity. Of course, Eren Yeager hates Titans, and it's a satirical take on the canon series with them as kids, and it's pretty adorable. It's just a nice distraction to pretty much sum things up. But anyway, yeah, I haven't been able to finish the game. I got it I'd say a week and a half ago, but due to some hardware problems with this 3DS, it's going to cost me $100 to get this fixed so I can properly play the game and actually play through it. But it's pretty freaking cool. I mean, there's 2 modes. There's story mode, which from what I've read online is a retelling of the canon series from the anime, where you have Eren, Mikasa, Armin, Sasha, and Levi going around being badasses, killing Titans, and so forth and so on. And yeah, and a pretty cool thing, and I know I'm playing the game right now, a pretty cool thing awaits you when you start it up. Yes, the opening theme from the anime. And that's how you know that you're playing an Attack on Titan game. It's not complete without that. And it's on the top screen. I know you probably can't hear it very well, so which is why I gave it the opening theme at the very beginning of this video. But anyway, yeah, it's pretty freaking cool. And unfortunately, no, there's no 3D effect, but it's pretty epic. Where you just know that this game was made for fans by fans, in my opinion. And I think it's even cooler that the European version uses its Japanese name, Shingeki no Kyojin. And for those of you that have been wondering this for like 8 million years, the soundtrack for Attack on Titan, and I'm going to play it again a little bit, is a mixture of Japanese and German. And for those that know their history, knows that during World War II, the Germans and the Japanese were allies under the Axis powers. So that's where the European influence comes in, not just with Attack on Titan, but with anime and manga in general in Japan. There's a heavy influence of European cultures and styles that are integrated, that were interwoven into a lot of the stuff we all know and love. And that is actually German for you are the prey, we are the hunters. There are 2 contexts you can draw from that. Well, the obvious one is the hunters being either the Survey Corps or the Titans, and the prey being, if you're the Titans, it's the humans, and if you're the Survey Corps, it's the Titans. But that pretty much sets the mood for. That's pretty much is pretty much the opening for the first season of the soundtrack. It's doesn't get any. It just pretty much reels you in and refuses to let go. So now that we've gotten through some of the video games, the manga, the anime, you know, the whole 9 yards and all that, and so forth and so on, let's get the ratings out of the way. So overall, I believe I put this on my blog as well. But overall, I gave in a scale of 1 to 10, I gave the anime for Attack on Titan as it is right now a 9 out of 10. There were a couple of things, mostly plot related, that I didn't like. Otherwise, I would have gotten a perfect 10. I'm gonna do a follow-up blog to explain my that, because I feel like I would just take this video would go on for an hour, and that's not the intention, of course. So yeah, that's Attack on Titan. The anime itself is getting 9 out of 10. The manga so far, I'm giving it an 8 out of 10. The reason I'm taking 2 points off from giving it a perfect 10 is, and I'm talking about the main. Actually, let me backtrack a little bit. For the fanon manga, I'm giving that an 8 out of 10, simply because I feel like, you know, there's just so much going on that they're gonna have to skip around in a few regards. I can't get into specifics, unfortunately, at this time, because I would be talking. It's mostly plot things, which are, and I don't want to spoil that for those that haven't read volumes 9 through 15 so far, and I want to be fair to those people. In terms of Attack on Titan Before the Fall so far, I'm giving it a 10 out of 10. It's doing a great job of explaining a lot of, not just a lot of the differences between back then and what's going on in the present, but it also does a great job with character development, in my opinion. Like who the good guys are, and who the bad guys are, and who is on the fence is very clearly explained, and I love that. I can't give a rating to this yet because I haven't read it yet, and the reason for that is I'm reading through volume 2 of Attack on Titan Junior High, and it's taking me a bit longer than I've expected due to distractions and so forth and so on. But when I get to it, I will put the rating on my blog. As for Attack on Titan Junior High, 10 out of 10 purely for the entertainment factor. I mean, it just demands. I mean, in order to enjoy this, you have to differentiate between the canon series and the fact and just take this at face value. I mean, it's a satirical take on a very hugely popular series, and that. I mean, there's been spoofs of other established anime and manga, but I just like the way that Attack on Titan Attack on Titan Junior High does it. But anyway, yeah, looks like I've gotten up to 16.5 minutes, which is pretty cool, not bad. I decided to do this. Let's talk about Attack on Titan because number one, it's great to have it's great to have someone that can look at this and both analytically, but is also a fan, but can also provide a bit of insight objectively as sort of like why do people like it and why do people like it and why is it so interesting. And on that note, as for why people like it, a lot of the characters in this you can relate to, where you have Eren, who just has at the beginning of the series just pretty much has his world turned upside down, and instead of being a victim, he decides to fight back. And as a lot of folks have been saying over the internet, there's Mikasa Ackerman, who is considered a very strong female protagonist for a lot of obvious reasons. Like Eren, she's had to deal with a lot of trauma in her childhood, and instead of being deciding to be a victim, and instead of it being your textbook female with a lot of male characteristics transplanted into her, she decides there is a lot of time and effort spent on her character's development that you can't help but to just like her for who she is and for what she does. There's a lot of strength in her that is pretty much unheard of overall in most anime and manga, and that's why she has such a huge appeal. And then you've got Levi, who is obviously the badass of all of the Survey Corps members, and that's why I said read this, which I plan to get to at some point within the next couple of weeks. because it does explain why he is who he is, and how a guy that was nothing more than a street rat just becomes pretty much the most iconic, the iconic cast member in Attack on Titan. Even more than Eren is, because he's the kind of guy that he is pretty. If you are a vet or a soldier, he is pretty much a personification of what it means to get the job done, no matter what. And you just can't say enough about him. Of course, there are a couple of things about this anime that are obviously make this clearly for those that are either, I'd say, at appropriate age, if you want to talk about appropriateness, would be about 16 and above, and also being mindful that in both the anime and in both the anime and in the manga, there is a lot of gore, and there is gore, there is violence, and there is a lot of blood. And this is actually one of the things that that I didn't like about the anime, that I think they went a little bit overboard on, is there's a lot of overuse of blood. Like blood being poured and stuff like that. I mean, the majority of it is the Titans or the humans that are slaughtered, but I think that with the way it's done in the manga, that's not the emphasis, but I feel like they went a little bit too heavy on the red stuff with the anime. And that is, and I know that, and I'm just speaking as objectively as someone, just to those that may be turned off by that, do carry in mind if you do decide to pick it up. You may see a lot of that going on. But, yeah. Wow, we're up to 20 minutes. But anyway. That's pretty much, I'm not going to let this video go on for much longer, because I think I've been talking for like almost 20 straight minutes now. But, if you're willing to give Attack on Titan a chance, I think you'll come to like it. If you don't want to get the anime on DVD, let me rephrase that. If you want to get it on DVD and Blu-ray, you're more than welcome. By the way, this is a DVD Blu-ray combo. So, like, for example, if you have a PlayStation 3 like I do, you can just pop it in there and you're good to go. You get both the DVD and the Blu-ray together, so it's one set of DVDs and one set of Blu-rays in one package for like, I think I paid $20 for each, because I ordered them off of Amazon. If you want to get the manga, like I said at the beginning, there are 15 volumes of the main canon series. They're $10 each. But for those that are wondering, I didn't buy them all at the same time. I feel like I have to explain that with not just my manga, my anime, but my video games as well. It's true that I have a lot of all three, but I buy them it's not like I don't buy them all at once. But anyway, different topic altogether. The video game Chains of Humanity is $40, and it's digital download only, so you want to make sure that you have a 16 gig memory card, or actually a memory card, not a memory card, an SD card big enough to hold the game. I mean, mine is a 16 gig because I have a crap ton of other digital downloads on this thing. Well, my other 3DS too, but this one, I had to delete all the music to make room for Attack on Titan. For the spin-off series, there are only 2 volumes, both of which I have. They're also $10 each. It gives a lot of insight into Erwin, the leader of the Survey Corps, and Levi, who is, well, anyway. And then you've got the spoof, which costs $17 each. There are 3 volumes that are out right now. And of course, if you don't want to get a physical copy, you can also get it on. You can also get a digital copy for your tablet. I don't have a digital copy of Attack on Titans, but it's there. The price is like $2, $3, $4 off in some regards. But yeah, it's there. It's you can also, the cool thing about I believe Apple and Android have this, where you can like read the first couple pages and then decide, hey, this looks pretty good. I want to buy the whole set, or no, I think I'll pass. So there's that too. But whew, I got through everything. Got through everything. So yeah. That's basically the end of this video. I'm gonna close out with the opening for the 2nd season. So you guys be cool, stay real, and I'll see you in another video sometime soon, guys.